My name is Emily Hooper, and I chose the topic of school retention for my speech. School retention is when a teacher feels that for one reason or another, a student would benefit for repeating the same grade for 2 consecutive years. Retaining a student is not an easy decision and should never be taken lightly. Contrary to what most may think, the studies, surveys, and test results prove that holding a child in the same grade, hoping that he or she will improve academically and socially over the next year, have often proved unsuccessful. The most common reasons for grade retention are when a child has significant struggles in reading, writing, and math, when a student fails to reach performance levels expected for promotion, or when a child seems immature or acts too young for his or her age. Surprisingly, 2.4 million students are retained every year in the United States. This is equivalent to 5 to 10% of the students in the United States school systems. One would think the level of support, programs, tutoring opportunities that are available in today's schools systems that this number would not be so alarmingly high. School retention is not only an emotional decision, but a costly one as well. School retention costs an estimated $13 billion to North Carolina school systems every year. From the surveys and statistics, it seems that there are consistent findings regarding school retention. More boys are typically retained than girls. More minorities are typically retained than whites. Children born to large families or families who are uninvolved are at high risk. Students whose families are poor or unemployed are also at high risk. Those who transfer schools mid-year and are unable to adjust often fall into the category of being retained. Once a decision has been made, despite the reason, studies have shown the results are often ineffective. It seems that students who have been retained share similarities in issues that arise later in school. Retained students are more likely to display aggressiveness and act out in the classroom. Multiple studies have shown that school retention also leads to low self-esteem and lower school attendance than other students. The academic improvements seem to increase slightly for the first year or so after retention and then decline to at or below levels of other peers who were not retained. But most importantly, retained students are 2 to 11 times more likely to drop out of high school than their peers. When hearing such negative results of school retention, we must question, why do so many children find themselves in this situation? And both parents and teachers often encourage retention, being aware of such negative effects. If it has been proven not to help, why do these children have to suffer the embarrassment of being known as a failure? It seems from a young age these kids are labeled, and many never overcome the emotional effects of being retained. One teacher I spoke with said that yes, he was aware that school retention was not favored by most critics, but in order to help the school reach the scores needed during the testing process, they as teachers were encouraged to retain the student, hoping for better results. School retention is not the best remedy for every struggling student. Sometimes it may be as simple as providing a student with some counseling to get them going in the right direction. Other options include summer programs or after-school programs that provide extra assistance in the areas in which the child struggles most. The social effects of school retention can often outweigh any academic progress that is made. When students are unhappy or have been taken away from their lifelong friends they have established, it is difficult for them to move forward and make any academic improvements. Therefore, before choosing to retain your child, it is important to weigh the pros and cons of such a life-changing decision. It is critical to emphasize to teachers the concerns present and evaluate all areas, not solely academics, before making the final decision. The topic of school retention is a personal one, and after doing research for this assignment, I was able to relate to both sides. However, as a parent, I feel that I had let my child down by choosing to hold him back without doing research that I should have done. I heard the teacher's request and felt that she probably knew best and neglected to look into it any further. My youngest son struggled in reading and was one of the younger boys in his grade. With these two reasons, I felt he would benefit. 3 years later, he is one of the top of his class, he loves to read, and he does very well. However, he has not made any new friends. Thankfully, 2 of his classmates were retained that same year, and those are his 2 friends. He comments often, "Mom, why did you have to hold me back?" And I realize that giving him some time or getting him some extra help in reading would have made the difference, and he would have been fine. It is now my responsibility as a parent to encourage him to participate in extracurricular activities with his classmates and encourage him to keep a positive self-esteem and feel good about his accomplishments. I do have strong regrets about holding him in the 2nd grade and wish I would have researched it deeper before simply accepting the teacher's request. So as I said earlier, school retention has lifelong effects, so it is not a decision to take lightly. Think about all aspects of the child. Remember that every child is different. Weigh the pros and cons before making the choice.